Welcome back to Jay's Smokehouse and the History of Cannabis series, Marijuana in the 1900s, Part 1. In 1906, President Roosevelt signs the Food and Drugs Act, known simply as the Wiley Act. The basis of the law rested on the regulation of product labeling rather than pre-market approval. And this is really where people start to see what is in their medication, such as laudanum. Laudanum, it seems, was popular in the late 1800s. However, the common person didn't know what was in laudanum until this act. And I've seen an ingredient sheet for one such laudanum, and what I saw was THC, CBD, morphine, cocaine, and opium. Now that's some pretty heavy stuff. And I'll tell you what, I could probably get through a broken leg happily through a workday with some laudanum. And then, after the Mexican Revolution in 1910, America really sees an influx in Mexican immigrants. And apparently, I don't know whether this is true or not, or whether it's just from campaigning, but apparently they really bring the recreational use or smoking of marijuana. Later, we'll even see the anti-drug campaigners even called the Mexican immigrants marijuana menace. And in 1911, Massachusetts becomes the first state in America to outlaw cannabis. By 1917, 8 more states would outlaw cannabis in some way. Before World War I, America got most of its cannabis from importing, mainly from India. However, due to World War I, it became increasingly difficult to get imports to America. Therefore, America really started trying to grow their own. And by 1918, America claimed to be growing just as good of cannabis as India. Therefore, in 1918, it's reported that America grew 60,000 pounds of medical marijuana. And in 1925, the League of Nations meets to sign a multilateral treaty restricting cannabis. This treaty restricted the use of cannabis to just scientific and medicinal uses. Now, I don't want to go off on one of my tangents right now, but just think about that. One of the first drugs that the leaders of our world tried to ban altogether was marijuana. Why? And then in 1925, at the same time, Egypt proposes to add hashish or resin to the regulated narcotics list. And so by 1927, another 10 states had banned cannabis in some way again. And so by this time, already 19 states have banned cannabis. And in 1928, cannabis is added to the prohibited drugs list in the United Kingdom's Dangerous Drugs Act. And now we're coming to the 1930s, and I'm going to pick up on the 1930s in part 2. However, I will say this, in the 1930s, the use of the word marijuana really picks up popularity, and there is a big reason for this. It seems that they switched to using marijuana in anti-drug campaigns, just because hemp and cannabis were really associated with medication. So they wanted to use the word marijuana, which was associated with Mexican immigrants. It's just sickening. So what this shows to me is that they've been trying to pit us against each other for so long. Now, I'm not sure if this is true, but I did read that the word marijuana comes from the Spanish name Maria Juana. So let's go ahead and review. Number 1, in 1906, President Roosevelt signs the Food and Drugs Act, or the Wiley Act. Number 2, in 1911, Massachusetts becomes the first state to ban cannabis, and by 1917, 8 other states followed suit. Number 3, in 1918, America grows 60,000 pounds of medical marijuana. Number 4, in 1925, the League of Nations meets to sign the treaty restricting cannabis. Number 5, by 1927, 10 more states have banned cannabis in some way, bringing the total tally of states to 19. Number 6, in 1928, cannabis is added to the United Kingdom's Dangerous Drug Act. And number 7, by the 1930s, the use of the word marijuana increases exponentially. Now, if you enjoyed this video or you are intrigued at all, please leave a like and a comment. Let me know what you think. And also, don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell button so you can see new videos coming out in the future. And now, as always, Jay is going to go smoke a J.